training and practice of image transmission modes and meets on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. California time on the N6NA repeater on 441.30 megahertz. River City ARCS members and any licensed radio amateurs are welcome to participate. If you wish to join the net or need to make a call at any time, please announce yourself and your call sign in between transmissions, and net control will acknowledge you. If an emergency should arise and you need the repeater, please contact the net by saying break, break. As always, a double break signifies emergency traffic. The net will stand by for you until the emergency is terminated or the traffic is moved to another frequency. Those who wish to check in are asked to respond with their full call sign using the recognized ITU phonetic alphabet and their name. I will recognize each station before continuing.
This is N6PGQ, Bob.
Seconds to get a piece of paper, and please go ahead and check in now.
This is N6PGQ, Bob.
6PGQ, Bob, number 1.
Good evening, this is Anders, NR68, November Romeo 6 Hotel.
Good evening, Anders, thank you. Thank you for being there, NR68. Anybody else? We would definitely have KP4MD. We'll check you in, Carol. I know you're busy with other items there on YouTube. Anybody else? My rig has not been used for quite some time, and my connections, I'm not so sure, are perfect. If we have any problems with my audio, please let me know. Otherwise, we will continue. One more chance for anybody to check in. Nobody heard. So, Bob, N6PGQ, if you're ready with some fantastic, exciting pictures, please go ahead.
Well, I don't know how fantastic and exciting it is, but here we go. N6PGQ.
You're right. Nothing exciting or exceptional on your picture, but I received it all right. Let's see. Anders, how do you do? NR6H.
Good evening, everybody. This is Anders, NR6H. Yeah, gray skies is what I received here. Good picture, though, quality-wise. No issues there. It's a sharp picture, and it must be have some vintage to it, because I don't think we've had this kind of gray skies in this area for a while. But the centerpiece is obviously a tower with an antenna on it, and first I thought it was a 6-meter antenna, but then I saw that the tower ends much further away, stands much further away, so I'm going to guess that this is something much, much bigger than that. Few spots here and there, but nothing remarkable. Sharp picture, colors came through fine, gray skies, like I said, but blue house definitely, and some green trees in the background. So definitely got the picture. It looks good. Interesting to hear what this is. NR6H, back to net.
Roger. Yes, thanks, Anders. And I don't understand what you're saying about the gray skies a long time ago. We had a huge storm just yesterday, while the rest of the country counts the fall of rain by inches. In California now we're adopting the drops per hour per square mile. Okay, so in that basis it was a big. I think I have 5 drops here yesterday. KP4MD, Carol, how about you?
Okay, this is KP4MD. First of all, a shout out to Craig, WP2N, who is on our YouTube live chat, and Alf, Kilo November 6, Papa Romeo Delta, also says hola to everyone. And I got the picture quite well, as you can see on the YouTube feed. It looks like, I recognize that antenna. It looks like a bow tie laying on its side. The Step IR urban beam, it looks like it's a adjustable. I guess it has some retracting length of a radiating element inside of that tubing that's in that shape of, well, it almost looks like a bow tie on top of that tower. And I think I can see the outline of a vertical antenna sticking up the top of the tower. And now down the side of the tower, parallel to the tower itself, there's something coming down with some pretty long standoffs. I don't know if that's a separate feed line for a different antenna, possibly. That's not visible in this, or I don't see why you would run the feed line to that urban beam and have to have it with standoffs that distance away from the tower. But yeah, fully overcast sky. Nice corner of a house there in the lower right-hand corner. And back to net. This is Kilo Papa 4, Mike Delta.
Well, thank you, Carol. Yeah, good description, and we did get the picture here very well. I think on the very beginning, I had a line which may have been a repeater identifying itself, and I think I had a better copy here than I see on YouTube, although in both cases they're pretty good. I have to confess, I don't know when Bob did that, but that is my antenna. That's my house and my antenna. And he stopped by the other day, but I don't think the clouds were that bad. I'm kind of curious when you took that picture, Bob. But the standoffs are for the feed for the Step IR, and then also, on top of it is the PVC 2 meter 440, which I'm using right now, on top of the antenna. I have a feeling that with the winds, that antenna may have shifted a little bit, because I was testing on 10 meters earlier, and looks like my direction is not absolutely correct. If you look at the house in the front, that window is the shack, and there is all the wires feed through a vertical board, which is against the antenna there on the front. So good copy. Quick question for Bob. When did you get this picture?
Boy, I can't even describe the picture anymore. Somebody knew all about it. Yeah, I was going to comment that I was in the neighborhood and there were people protesting this monstrosity sticking up next to the house, but that isn't fair. I was also going to mention if you look real carefully in the left side of the left window are all the pass-throughs of the coax and ground connections and things like that. It's a very nice installation. And as mentioned, this is Neil's house, and the picture was taken yesterday, N6PGQ.
Okay, thank you. And that proves my point there to Anders that there was a huge storm the other day. Any comments, Anders?
I must have been hiding in front of my computer all day yesterday, so I guess I didn't notice those clouds. But I guess that's a big event here, so I should have seen it. Thanks so much for letting me know. Keep an eye open for the next time. NR6H by Net.
Very well. No, that antenna is, I think, one of the best antennas that I've had so far. With not making any commercials for Stepper, but it works very well. And as Carol mentioned, it looks like a bow tie, while Bob looks like a couple of trombones. So that's the way you go. Anders, your turn. NR6H. Go ahead, sir.
Can I ask a quick question first?
Please go ahead.
So you have that vertical panel on the sliding window. What about the other side of that window? That must be open a few inches. Do you have any issues with wind and rain coming in on that side of the window?
Actually not. This is a pass-through that comes from MFJ. MFJ, yes. And they are pretty nice. They provide you not only with that board that will go vertically or horizontal, depending on how your window goes, but also another long board that you can cut to the proper length so that will secure your sliding window pane so that it cannot be open from the outside. So that's pretty good. In addition to that, they provide you with a foam that you put in there so it will replace the original connection between the two panes, and you stop that wind and rain. So it's very simple but very effective.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That sounds like a good solution. I should look for that. And yes, I'm ready to send a picture, and this is NR6H pushing transmit.
Well, Anders, before I say anything, let Bob and Carol comment. Very sharp copy here, very sharp copy. Carol, KP4MD. Please, I think I bypassed you last time, did I? I'm trying to learn how to handle this radio network, net control again. It's been a long time, so my apologies if I bypassed you, but back to you for comments.
No, this is KP4MD. No, you did not pass me at all. You're doing a wonderful job as net control. And thank you. Really do appreciate your assistance, since it's a full-time job here, just doing the overlooking the YouTube video feed. And picture came in relatively well, as you could all see on YouTube. This looks like some kind of I'm going to guess it's something military, and the thing that kind of is a tip for that is just the font that Anders uses there for the N6NA SSTV Net being stencil type of font, which is something you normally see in military signs. And it looks like they're using also a stencil type of font there on the up on the top right panel there. It looks like there's a piece of paper that's covering some printing there. It says "Make Patches." I'm guessing it's "Don't make patches." It's something radio. I can't read the word to the right of radio. And then something apostrophe S permission. So I guess they're saying don't make patches without radio somebody's permission. And then to the left of that paper, there's what looks like an engraved, probably plastic sign saying receiver group. And there are a whole bunch of these. I'm not sure what those are. They look like they may be lights or jacks or buttons. And I'm guessing this is some kind of a patch panel or a control to patch different communication circuits together. This is what I'm guessing. Don't see any wires plugged. Maybe there is a wire plugged in the lower left hand corner. I see something that looks like a wire. But usually with patch panels, you have a bunch of jacks, and you put a plug in one of them, and you have a jumper that goes to another jack. But I don't see any of that here. It's really curious. Interesting pattern of yellow lit lights or yellow colored buttons on some of these little rectangular units. Okay, I'm going to turn it back to Nets, KP4MD.
Well, very thorough description there, Carol. Thank you very much. And I had not paid attention, but like you said, it looks like the font that he's used. I think I've seen that in some of the MASH programs. By the way, I noticed here that my signal link red light keeps on blinking on and off once in a while, so there may be some spurious signal. And if there's any interference with the net, please let me know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to transmit the picture later or not. So, Bob, N6PGQ, your turn.
Well, my program decided to receive noise and get rid of the picture, so I have to do it by memory. Yeah, Carol gave a really good description of what you could see, and I couldn't, my guesses are always way off in left field somewhere, but it almost looks like the round holes are like a push button that either changes color or indicates when it's been pushed in to make a patch. Obviously there aren't any patch cords on it except maybe in the lower left corner. That's all I can say. N6PGQ quality was good.
Well, I have very little to add to scale 7HQ1. I counted there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I immediately thought it was like the dual inline package, the seven connections on the TTL, but this is obviously not that. But very curious to what it is. So, Anders, can you clarify it for us? And before you do, let me make, like Carol mentioned, I see there on YouTube we have Eddie Murphy, Andrew, and we have even our friend Wilson is there. and Alf is back there again. So nice to have such a consistent attendance on YouTube. I appreciate you guys. So back to you, Anders.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that you would tell me what this is, because this is something that I got to see last week, Friday, and it is from the radio room of USS Hornet that is docked down in Alameda, which is a aircraft carrier. And it was a really awesome visit. If you haven't been there, that is warmly recommended. Much cooler than, for example, the Midway down in San Diego. This was really neat. A real ship, real crew. The guys that were showing the ship was super helpful and really enthusiastic to show everything. It was really neat. We got to, I of course asked for the radio room, and they were thinking for a little bit and asked some other guys, and then eventually they said, well, maybe down this stair and to the left and through this locked door and jump through this little hole, and we got into this radio room in a little private tour, me and my son, and the guys proudly displayed or showed me this wall of knobs, and these are actually knobs. All of these are, some of them are potentiometers, just twisty turnies, and some of them are switches. And looking a little closer at it, some of these switches were switching between modes, like USB and upper sideband and lower sideband. Some of them were adjusting frequency. And the guys explained this to me in a very non-scientific way, because none of them really knew what this was, but they said that this was an encryption system for changing frequencies. And my guess, looking when I was standing there, was that this kind of was a scanning system. So it was scanning, and everything was numbered from left to right. And my guess, short break. My guess was simply that something was scanning through these modules. Each module was set to a specific frequency and mode, and then that's how the system was actually doing frequency jumping through. So this piece here is just a little piece. So this was a big wall. There was this is probably just a centerpiece. There's probably 6 or 7 modules more on each side. And then actually on the opposite side of this is a whole new wall, same thing again. So lots of knobs, lots of things to adjust, and that's probably what the warning sign was about there. Don't touch, because you will mess things up. So that's my take on it. If somebody knows more about it, I'd love to hear it. Like I said, from the USS Hornet down in Alameda. That boat was built in 41, 42. And it was the ship that was actually picking up Apollo 11 and 12. There was a little display of, or not so little, but a display of with a capsule, the same type of capsule that the 3 guys came down in, and also the quarantine, the quarantine space, the silvery thing that we've all seen on the pictures. That was also there, and obviously planes and lots of things to explore on that boat. So much recommended visit. It's a simple drive down to Alameda to see it. It was $20 and we spent well over 4 hours, me and my son, walking around there. So that was it. NR6H, back to you.
7HQR. Thank you, Anders. That's quite impressive. I have a few questions, but let's see if Bob or Carol have any questions. Okay, it sounds very complex, but I can understand what nowadays probably that's doing with switching modes and switching frequencies, computer controlled, but like it's scattered frequency process. So fascinating. The Hornet. The moment you mentioned the Hornet, I knew that rang a big bell in the Apollo 11 and 12. and I definitely would like to go there. I just had a visitor for the last several months, a visitor from Brazil, and we went all over the place. One of the places was down in Southern California. We went aboard the battleship Iowa, which is docked in San Pedro there. Very interesting. I have been to the Midway down in San Diego, but this is definitely now on my very, very high priority. Thank you so much.
It's like I said, it's a simple little trip down, and doing it on a weekday is probably a good idea because weekends it's full of tourists, I guess. So we got a lot of time to actually walk around. So, and they have tours, so you want to probably check in with the sign up for one of the tours to get a really good guide to show you through the ship there. Also, one thing I forgot to mention is that the ship does have an active radio club, and that was part of my lead into to starting to ask about the radio room, because I saw obviously plenty of antennas on this thing, and on the side of the ship there were these large verticals that could actually be flipped down so that they're not in the way for the planes when they land. And so I obviously started asking about those, and after some looking around there, we were actually able to identify a MFJ tuner that was mounted right on the base of one of those antennas, and I saw a coax go into the ship there. So I guess that's somewhere where the radio club is spending their time. So very, very cool visit, warmly recommended. NR6H, back to net.
Well, thanks so much. That is definitely worth going and taking a look. It's my list. Maybe I can talk Bob into writing down. We can go down there together one of these days. Very well, Carol, it's your turn. You ready to send us a new picture? KP4MD KL7HQR net control for the N6NA SSTV Net for tonight.
Okay, Roger, Roger. This is going to be PD120.
KL7HQR for the N6NA SSTV Net. Good copy, Carol. Good picture. I'll go through my description very quickly here. green linoleum floor, very clear, very shiny. Lots of wheel chairs with rolling chairs. Several people around what could be consoles or computers, could be radio. A poster on the wall that something about, I can see the Hornet, USS Hornet. And so I wonder if this is related to what we just saw from Anders. There are a couple persons sitting in chairs on the right-hand side. There are lady in blue, and then gentleman in black, which could be in uniform in the background, and another lady on a chair here in black and white polka dot dresses. Very curious if there seems to be a connection with what Anders said. Let me pass on to Bob to see what he has to say. N6PGQ, KL7HUR.
Well, the sign on there says USS Hornet Amateur Radio Club, so this must be the radio room inside the Hornet. Green linoleum floor. The guys on the right both have headphones on. The lady in the left in the blue has headphones on. Person in the left doesn't, so I don't know if that's another radio position or they're just sitting there. They're obviously working hard. They're leaned over the key or the microphone. Must be a special event, perhaps one of the ships on the air activities or something like that. Good picture. Pretty bright room. I don't know whether it's all fluorescent lights or what, but it's well lit. N6PGQ.
With descriptions, I could read USS Hornet. I could not read the Amateur Radio Club part, but it has to do with it's an illness that I have that is being called too many birthdays, I believe. So let's go to Anders, NR6H.
Well, I had a feeling that Carol would know more, and this is, I think, proof of that. So clearly, this must be the Amateur Radio Club, the NB6GC. That's November Bravo 6 Golf Charlie, HARC, Hornet Amateur Radio Club. And I would assume that this is their room in the ship. Probably not the original radio room. I think that's where I was, and I think actually that's on the other side of the ship. This is probably just a space that they are using, where they use a little bit more modern equipment than the original. The original stuff is obviously a little dated by now, but I guess some of it might still work. I don't know. Very cool. Love to hear more about this, and I have made it my own little mission to eventually get the QSO with these guys somehow. They are apparently still quite active, according to the guys at the ship there, even though none of those knew any details. So hope to learn more when Carol comes on here. NR6H, back to Net.
Well, leave it to Carol to add a surprise to a surprise. Back to you, Carol. KB4MD, KL7HUR.
Yeah, okay, this is KP4MD. I think your audio is kind of fading a bit there, Neil. It's getting a little bit difficult to hear you. Your modulation's way down. Anyway, yes, this is, when Anders came with that picture from the USS Hornet, I needed to dig this one up myself. This is definitely the USS Hornet Amateur Radio Club. And there's a group that I belong to. It's called the Ladies of the Net Amateur Radio Club, KM6CIR, and we decided to do an activation of the USS Hornet Radio Club. This was in February 18th of 2016, and this is the you're right, Anders. This is the modern radio room. They have, I believe, up to 5 or 6 different operating positions that you can operate from. That person in the blue windbreaker is actually myself. I was operating 30 meters CW and I had my headphones on. The people on the right side, that's a WB6BET, Jim Sieferling, who recently passed away, and his wife, Amelia Sieferling, who were both working 20-meter phone. And in the foreground, there were a couple of other hams. There was Janet, K6. Gee whiz. Call sign just skips my mind, but I know she's from Chico. And then Tina Matson was there also, KK6KSY, and they were operating 40-meter phone. And out of this picture, but to the right, there's a couple of 19-inch racks that have the commercial transmitters that we were using, and they were these are commercial single sideband transmitters that are used for marine communications, and they were connected to those antennas that you were looking at, Anders, the whip antennas, and a number of wire antennas up there. This club is very, very active, and they do operations such as museum ships on the air. And I think this was actually a museum ships on the air weekend that we were activating. So I can share a video about this activation to those of you who are on the net. I'll go ahead and I'll send the link out by email later on. Or might be able to do that right in the chat. Why don't I go ahead and do that? So we were actually mentioned in the amateur radio news line for this operation. So this was quite a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing that. Back to nets, KP for MD.
Well, Anders, do you have any questions or comments?
Very cool. So you said that this was the ladies' net. So are you a member actually of the USS Hornet Club, or is that a separate club from the HARC?
No, I'm not a member of the Hornet Club. It might make sense if I lived in the Alameda area to be a member of that club. But no, we have a separate club which is called Ladies of the Net, and we really don't hardly get together in person except maybe at Pacificon convention, but we have a 40-meter phone net that we do every Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. on 7245 lower sideband. So we do sometimes plan these social activities and events where we go out and do operations in different locations. So it's a YL group. Over.
Alrighty, so not directly connected to the Hornet then, but you used that opportunity to get in there. That's very cool, and yeah. So I heard that the ship is open for all kinds of other activity. They have sleepovers and all kinds of strange activities going on there. But I have to assume that the radio club is also an interesting target for people like us. So very, very cool. Thanks so much for that. N6H, back to net.
Scale 7HQ. Wow, that was neat, because now I have to find the proper weekend proper weekday, since we lazy people that don't work anymore, to go down there and enjoy that. Thank you. What a coincidence, and congratulations on your record retrieval there, Carol. Yeah, unless you were prepared, you found this very quickly. And anyway, before I do and try to send my picture, let me try a tone here and see if there is a tone. Okay, question is, was there a tone? And second, is my audio any better?
Yes and yes, N6PGQ.
Okay, this will be PD 120 if I can sense it. let's hope that a picture was sent and able to receive, because the activity on the signal link here was a little dubious. So let's go to Bob, N6PGQ. How did it go?
Well, the picture quality was very, very good. Few little pixel pops noticeable in the sky. I kind of have a little bit of inside information on this, so I probably should let someone else go. But you have a picture of what looks like a bald eagle flying from right to left, and some nice trees in the background. Good picture, N6PGQ.
Well, I'm glad he went out and is recognizable. Andrew, N6NA, I still think about your old call letter, my friend, but I'm working on it. How do you go?
Yeah, excellent reception. Pixel pops visible on the evenly colored sky, but down in the trees it's hard to see any. Big bird making a right turn right in front of the camera here, and I guess he's looking for a carrier to land on. So that's my guess. NR6H, back to net.
Okie dokie. And Carol, KP4MD, your turn.
Okay, yeah, this is KP4MD. All I'm going to say is it's a bird of prey with a tremendously wide wingspan. I don't know the difference between eagles and condors, but I know the condor is supposed to have the widest wingspan of all the birds around here, and an amazing, beautiful nature shot for the person who took that, and some pine trees there in the background. It looks like an overcast sky. Back to you, it's KP4MD.
It's KL7HQR. Yeah, as I was talking to you for the last hour, I've been feverishly working on another computer here on the laptop. I have a video that goes along with this, and I have prepared about 5-minute video. It's just unedited and very crude, but I uploaded it to Google Drive, and they have to process it, and once they do, I get a link, and my intent was to get this link and put it on YouTube so you guys could go and take a look at this video. But this is a picture that we took during our cruise to Alaska just a few days ago. We just came back last Tuesday, a week ago yesterday, and we went to a place in Ketchikan. It's an island that is controlled by the Indians, including the waters nearby. Even the federal government conceded the total rights to the Indians, to the local tribe there. And they have hundreds of eagles. We went with this boat, and if you've ever been on a ship where when it starts the engine, or even a boat, when it starts the engine and it turns the water, the seagulls go crazy. They just come along to try to get the food that is turned up from the water. Well, we saw that for about 20 minutes with eagles. They have an 8-foot wingspan, and there were easily a couple, 3 dozen of them fighting for food and just doing flying demonstrations in front of us. This is a picture my wife took us, and but it was incredible. It was a lifetime. So we really appreciate it. Next week, if I have the video up, I promise to put the link there. So, any comments or questions? Some fun facts. We found out that such a grouping of eagles in one place is called a convocation. That's their collective name for the eagles, and they were absolutely impressive. The good thing is that we heard is that they're no longer on the endangered species, so that is pretty good. It was quite an experience. I have no other pictures, and if anybody else has a second pictures that they would rather send, we still have about 15 minutes until the deadline at 10 o'clock, so it's open. Okay, here are note takers for a second picture. Let me take. Okay, anything on YouTube there, Carol? I don't have my reception there.
Yeah, nothing more here. It's KP4MD.
Okay, having no new pictures, looking forward to next Wednesday. We appreciate the participation of not only Bob and Anders and Carol, but also Wilson and Alf, and who else was there? I think it was Craig that was there as well on YouTube. Appreciate your participation. Having no further activity for tonight, we'll close the net. It is now, I have to make sure that I have my audio correct here. It's now 9:47 p.m. and we shall be back here at 9 p.m. California time on next Wednesday for one more edition of the River City ARCS SSTV Net. One more chance for any further comments before we close. This is EO Kilo Lima 7 Hotel Quebec Romeo, closing the net at this time. Good evening and have any trees, and thank you to everybody. Thanks, Carol, for a lot of activity there on YouTube.
Okay, thank you everybody who participated in the net. And those of you who have checked in, I have sent an email out with links to more pictures and some videos from that operation aboard the USS Hornet that I mentioned. This is KP4MD Clear.